Good morning, everyone. My name is Karl. I'm from Microsoft. I'm program manager on the product team. I am so excited, a little bit nervous, and very honored to be here today. I really think this is the largest Access event in the world. So yes. So I'll start with saying thank you. Thank you everyone who came here today. Thank you, Karl, for always extending a warm welcome, Karl warm welcome for me to come here and to talk. Thank you for letting me do this in English, because otherwise this wouldn't happen. And yes, I just want to say again that I really appreciate Karl's work in fostering this community. It's great that I live in the US, but I still see some familiar faces in the audience, which is just amazing. We all share this common love and interest, so I think this is just wonderful. So thank you, Karl. And I'll just get started, if that's okay. So Karl asked me to talk a little bit about what's going on with Access 2019. Oh, I have this, I forgot. Okay. 2019, I'm going to talk about some of our recent investments, what are the things that are happening, talk about what's coming next, so Office 365 roadmap for Access. I'll talk a bit about a topic that is very close to my heart, which is customer engagement, and then I'll try to leave some time for questions and answers, but don't worry. Like this? Okay. We'll try to leave some time for questions and answers, but if you don't get a chance, I'm going to hang around at least until after lunch, and please feel free to find me later if you want to just chat or ask or anything else. So let's get started. Yes, it's actually working. So, Access 2019. What's new with Access 2019? So basically the way this works, and this will be, I think, true for the coming versions of Access, is that everything that we ship for Office 365, which is something that is being updated on a regular basis, when time comes to ship a new perpetual version, like 2019, we just bundle everything together, wrap it with a nice bow, and ship it. So in 2019, you'll see a lot of the features that if you are using Office 365, you've already seen. For example, and this is a partial list, there is more to it. For example, new charts and modern charts that are shipped just recently in Office 365, they barely made it, but they did make it into the 2019 version. Other things have been around for longer, such as the begin support, which is something that I believe I demoed a year and a half ago in the DevCon conference in Vienna. Support for DBase, that is back for based on popular demand and people just screaming their lungs out that they really want this. Property sheet sorting, ODBC connection retrieval, so a lot of other things, accessibility improvements, and there is more. How can you learn more about this? You go to that link. A simple search on the web will get you to the same place, what's new in Access 2019. This has the full list of the things that are basically what was added, so the delta between 2016 and 2019. So that's a great source to just know what you're getting. With that, I'll talk about some recent investments. So, just to be clear, that was all I'm going to say about 2019, because that's all there is to it. The things that are happening for Office 365. And our recent investments, this is where you're going to see them first, of course. So I'll start with modern charts. And before I go into this, I want to just quickly show of hands. Who has an application that is using charts, any kind of charts? Okay, most of the people in the room. Who of you are have applications that is using pivot charts? Still a lot. Okay, cool, great. So for all of you who've raised your hands, and for all of you who always wanted to try charts but never did, the next section is going to be super important for you. So in my mind, and the way I like to think about charts is it's really helping people to see data in a different way, sometimes in a different way. It's a good way for people to draw insights from just looking at data, because you've all been in a position where you are trying to explain something or show a bunch of numbers, and you can talk about these numbers and percentages and show the relationships, but most chances are, if you don't use some kind of a visualization aid, most chances are that your point, the key takeaway that you have, will just get lost. This is why when you want to tell a story that is based on the data, and when you want to have people understand your point, your bottom line, where this is going, this is where charts really come in handy. So it's a great way to understand the importance and the significance of data just by putting it into some kind of visual context. There are multiple types of charts out there in the wild. Some of them make more sense, some of them make less sense, but there's tons of them. And what we have been doing in Access in the past few years is we talked with a lot of customers about how they're using charts, why they're not using charts. And we tried to really understand, our goal was to understand what are the scenarios, what are people trying to do, what are the scenarios that people try to accomplish and that they're blocked. What are the pain points with the charts that we already have in Access, because we do have charts. So that was our goal, and we learned a ton. We learned a lot of things. I'm going to share the top 6 things that we've learned. So as much as Access is all about data, and you use it to integrate data from external data sources with your local data, sometimes your data is in SQL, you could have multiple different backends, and it's really all about data. Data can be so much more powerful if you just present it in charts, especially if you want to, again, make a point, some kind of point. So this is a key scenario for everyone who is using Access. When we talked with developers, we also learned that this is a good selling point. Having nice-looking charts that display data in a way that makes sense and looks something modern and nice, it's a good selling point when you come to pitch an application to a client, or you want to show a prototype. Hey, look at this thing that I can do with Access. Hey, look at this report that I can generate for you that will help you make informed decisions. So this is really a good selling point for doing more business, basically. For everyone who've ever used pivot charts, we know that people really miss pivot charts. People who have used it in 2010 were very disappointed when we took it out in 2013. We see some nods in the audience. We're very, very disappointed. So it really became an upgrade blocker. People couldn't move beyond 2013 because they had applications that were working with pivot charts. People talk about 2 things when they talk about pivot charts. They talk about the way you transform your data, and they also talk about your ability to interact with the data. So to have a chart where you can, on the fly, in runtime, change the layout and the content of what you're seeing. These are the 2 things that people really need. Being current and modern is a theme that is something that we hear from customers across Access. This is a 25-year-old product. Some of the areas in it have not been cared for in a long time. There is an ask for customers to make it look modern, to make it feel modern, to make it, look nice and sexy. So this ask is even more true when you're talking about charts, which is visual and has colors and all of these things that by nature you want them to look pretty. The next one is design experience. So for everyone who's ever worked with charts, once you pass through the Access wizard and you want to edit your chart, you're going into this experience, which is basically external. It's not really native in Access. Yes, Access does open the window, but you need to have a different set of tools and a different kind of knowledge to just know how to go back and edit your chart. So the experience wasn't really great and didn't feel native in Access. And the last one is that we always knew that one of the more common scenarios is that people use Access to get all that data, manipulate data, run complex queries, do all of these things, but then when they need to generate a report to bring to executives or when they have some kind of business review and they want to generate this really nice page with all the charts of their finances, etc., they'll export their data to Excel, and this is where they'll do it. So we weren't really surprised that this is a scenario. We were surprised to know how common it is. With that, based on all of these learnings and the hard work of the team, I'm very, very proud and pleased to give you modern charts in Access. We are supporting now 11 chart types that are modern. One of them is brand new to Access, that's the combo chart. It allows you to combine two different chart types in one chart for your data series. They have a really nice modern look and feel to them. They really remind, for people who are used to working with Excel, they really remind you of Excel charts. Actually, we are using the same engine behind the scenes to generate these charts. We have a friendly new UI to edit, to create the charts. So what you'll see is a new chart settings pane that allows you to bind your data to your chart and then also play a little bit with the setting of the data series. And then if you are used to, and I'm sure all of you are used to working with the property sheet, you can also use the property sheet to edit your chart. So we're not introducing a new experience or a new user interface for you. We're just using your very own skill set and things that you're used to working with Access. The last one here is an interactive chart. So all of the properties of the charts are supported in the object model, which means that programmatically you can create exactly that thing that all of the pivot charts users really miss, and that's the way to create an interactive chart that changes on the fly at runtime. And now that I've talked so much, I think it's a good time for demo. Yes, okay. So this is my database. It's super simple: products, sales data, nothing that should surprise you. It's really basic. I'll start with a classic chart, revenue chart by year and by region. This is something that I would get just by going through the browser. So I haven't changed anything. It's just I went, not the browser, sorry, the wizard. I just went through the steps, and this is what I got for revenue by year and region. For comparison, this is what I'm getting when I'm doing the new chart. So it looks different. I hope you all share this sentiment that it looks better. And it's the same thing. So I haven't done anything. This is just very, very basic. Let me show you how I create a new one from scratch, and this is how I'm going to show you the UI. So I'll start with a new form. Just move things around a little bit. And this is the new entry point, insert chart. This is the the drop-down menu where I can pick my chart type, and let me start with combo because it's new and it's awesome. And the chart setting pane, just make this so you can see more. The chart setting pane, you start with just binding the data. So you select your query, for example, this one, and then I'm going to decide that on the x-axis, the category axis, I want to see sale date, which makes sense. The first thing you'll notice as I'm going through this is that all the changes that I'm making, you see them in design time. This is not runtime. This is not form view. It's design view. So I can make all these changes and go back and forth until I get what I want to see here. I can set the legend, but since this is combo chart, it doesn't really make sense. And for values, what I'm going to do is I'm going to pick the amount, which is the number of items that were actually sold. And I'm also going to pick sales amount. And this gives me this really nice start of a chart. And what I want to do next is go to format. And this will basically, in the same chart settings pane, this will let me change some of the settings for the data series in my charts. So if I wanted to say, okay, sum of amount, that name, I don't like it, so I'm just going to say number of items. For example, I can change the legend, the data series name, which is represented in the legend. I can, of course, do trivial things like change the color. I can also, but the nice thing that I can do here is for if I pick the other data series, sales amount, I'll just give it a meaningful name. For this one, I want to say that I don't like the fact that I'm seeing these two data series that are so far apart. I don't see the connection, I can see the relation. So I'm just going to plot this on the secondary axis. And now I think it makes more sense. Now I see the correlation between the two things. The next thing that I'll show you real quick is how I use property sheet to make more changes. So you'll notice the data tab has my transformed query already. So I picked a query, but based on my selection for the axis category legend, this changed the query that you'll see in the row source. In format here, I can change many of the things that are more chart level. So I can change the chart title, for example, and say this is my sales analysis. Here's another cool thing that I can do for my secondary. So remember I put my the sales amount on the secondary axis. So for this one, I can just say, okay, I want this to be in dollars, and I want the display unit to be in thousands. So pretty easily, just using the property sheet, I can do that and make my chart really my own, and to look the way I want it to see and present the data I want to see. Next thing I'm going to show you is continuous form. So the new charts, you can create continuous form, where for each element you'll have charts. So you bind your charts to a record. So I think this is super cool. It's not something that you could do with the old charts. So you can present basically continuous data for continuous information in different sections. And the last thing I'll show here is the interactive chart. So this one, with this one it's super simple code behind this VBA. I say it's super simple, and I promise it's super simple because I created it. And you can change anything basically. So you can say, okay, I want to look at this region, and I want to look at the strategy for each region, and this will change the way my chart looks. And I want to say, okay, for legend, I want to look at the sales representatives, and I'm just changing the entire layout of the chart as I make these selections. And I think this will make more sense, maybe. So basically, the point of this is just to show you that all the properties are supported in the object model, and writing very simple code behind this. You can make this interactive, just the way you would do with any other pivot chart. Last thing, very important. This is not very good, but what I wanted to show is that, or what I wanted to emphasize, that we are not taking anything away. I know this is very important for people who have been using Access for a long time. We are not taking away the capability to create all classic charts. So basically, you can create a classic chart on the same form as a modern chart. They can live together happily ever after. We're not taking this capability. So it's really up to you to how you want to use them. Okay, moving on. So we're in the topic of recent investments. The other investment is Link Table Manager. Everyone who uses backend that is not Access, that is either SQL or anywhere else, or just integrates with data in other data sources, appreciates Link Table Manager. Again, based on our conversations with customers and our MVPs, we've learned that Link Table Manager could use some love and care. The feedback that we got, you could bucket into two different categories. There was a lot of feedback around usability. Feedback talking about, well, first, let's just say it, you couldn't resize the window, right? How annoying is that? You just can't resize the window. That was one. People talked about having long lists of link tables and very hard to find the one that you're looking for because they all kind of look the same and it's just super long. People talked about lots of things with regards to usability, and then also functionality. For example, a scenario that came up when we talked with developers is the scenario where you're working on one environment, say your test environment or development environment, and when you want to give it to a customer, you don't have a way to really just change the connection string and hand over a done product. You have to give it to the customer and then change things or delete the links and then recreate them and do all of these maneuvers around because you just couldn't edit. So we heard a lot of feedback. We came up with a new link table manager. So this is not, if you remember, this is not in 2019. This is only available now for Office 365 subscribers. And what it lets you do, so first of all, it lets you resize the window, which is great. Seems trivial, but it's not. So that's one. And then a few other things to note here. I'm not going to do a demo here just because we don't have a lot of time. And Karl also warned me that there's going to be some curveballs flying around this. So I'm not doing a demo, but some of the things to call out. You can group by data source. So by default, we group by data source based on the full connection string. So it's easier to look at. You can rename the data source name. So if I have, say I created a link to one Access database here and then another one there, I can rename them. It's just a display name. So I can make groups, or I can just make it easier to find my links. You can refresh, as you're used to. You'll get this really nice column of status, if it's successful or not, and why wasn't it successful if it wasn't. And then we also have relink, which lets you accomplish exactly the scenario I talked about, where you want to relink an existing data source to a data source that has changed, or to tables that were renamed. Maybe the data source is the same, but the tables are not. So really work on making this link work again. The other thing that you can do is edit. So with edit, what you get is a free text, is a way to just enter free text. So say I know my connection string, I know my customers, my clients' connection string. I can edit this thing to point at the right path as my customer gave it, and I should be able to save it here without really having to connect. So I don't need to validate, I just enter the path or the connection string, and it should just work. Both for link table manager, charts, the two things that I showed you, and it's true for everything. Please tell us what you think, right? We're working in Redmond, heads down, in our offices, doing all these things. We want to know what you think. We want to know if you love it or you hate it, or you think this is the most amazing thing ever, or not. All feedback is valid. There are a few ways to do that. Under help, feedback, this is what you get. You can either like something or not like something, and you can have a suggestion. So if you think in charts, it would be great to be able to click on a chart object or double click on it and do something. Let us know that you think this is a great idea. The way to do this, so I have a suggestion. When you click on this, it will take you to a website called User Voice. User Voice is a platform that we use to collect suggestions from our customers because they know best. You have a way to either make a new suggestion or to search in this pool of suggestion and then vote on the things that you care about. The in-app one, the I like something, I don't like something, I can tell you that we are looking at this on a weekly basis. So if you're not swearing, like we filter swear words, but we're looking at feedback. So please tell us what you think. Next. Office 365 roadmap. So we're working on it. We're always working on it. There's more things to come. Some are small, some are big, some are very, very engineering focused and are not really customer facing. Some are more interesting to a portion of our customers. Some are interesting to larger portions of our customers, but we're working on it. On the horizon, two things are coming. One is black and dark theme support. Who uses dark theme when they're developing? Okay. So you guys are going to be super happy with this coming out soon. It's actually rolling out on Office 365. And the next one is connecting to Microsoft Graph. So you all know that last year we shipped 2 data connectors. Yes?
Sorry, a short question.
Yeah.
Will dark mode also apply to the VBA environment?
No.
Oh, sad. Thank you.
I need to have something to talk about next year.
Okay.
So we shipped 2 connectors last year, one for Dynamics 365, Microsoft Dynamics 365, and the other to Salesforce. These 2 connectors are only available to enterprise customers. This one, the Microsoft Graph, is going to be available to everyone. How many of you are familiar with Microsoft Graph? Too few. Okay. So Microsoft Graph is actually a single endpoint that lets you consume all of the data that Microsoft has, basically. And if you think about it, we're not going to really let you access everything. We're going to expose first phase 6 endpoints. So, and I'll briefly go over them. So you have access to your calendar events from Access. We'll just be able to connect a link table to your calendar and see all the events that you have. Think about the link table to your inbox messages, being able to create new messages, so just basically and edit or do all these things from.
Maybe you should say that you are talking about Office 365 all the time now.
I am talking about Office 365 all the time. Yes.
With Graph.
With Graph, for sure.
They don't look at your Outlook if you're not at Office 365.
I think, no, we're not. No. Yes, it's Office 365. It's all Office 365. We're going to give you access to your groups, your organizational groups, your users, your OneDrive files, everything from Access. We think this will unblock and make some scenarios available for customers, and this is coming soon. A good source of information is here. So we have our Office 365 public roadmap. We do our best to keep it updated. It has information on things that are currently in development, things that are already rolling out, and things that are planned in the near future. It doesn't show like a roadmap, super into the future, but it should give you an idea of what people are working on. Okay, last topic. Community engagement. This is a super important topic for me. I think, our uber goal really is to deliver value to our customers. If we don't know what the customers want, we can sit in Redmond and do whatever we want, but it's just not going to serve the purpose. So in order for us to be able to deliver value to our customers, we need to keep in touch. We need to know what's going on. I need to understand what you care about. Okay? So that's why I've been driving this as hard as I can. And it's also a two-way street, kinda. So that's why I'm always pushing on. Tell us what you think. There are a few ways that we're trying to keep in touch and to learn from customers. We respond to feedback that I mentioned before. So we read your in-app feedback. It's a good way for us to also sometimes have interaction. I don't know how many of you have tried it, but statistically. So at least once a week we look at the feedback that really we something that, that might be a bug, a very serious one, or something that people are more people are going to be exposed to this, and we just email you back. So sometimes if you use the smiley face thingy and you write us, you may actually get an answer for someone on the team who's asking for more information or repro steps or your database or something. So we're really looking at this. User voice that I mentioned before, it's a great way for us to know what people are interested in. It's also yeah, it's just a great way for you to tell us what you think and what's important. We try to be as visible as possible. So we share our roadmap. We have a blog that we update with news and things that are coming out. We have customer success stories that can inspire other people, and you can learn what are the things that you can do with Access. You can also point, I've already heard from people who told me that, oh, it's great that you have a blog because I can point my customers to your blog to show that Microsoft is really behind Access and is working on it. So we have a blog. We also have a tech community space. It's linked from the blog where people ask questions. I know our MVPs are trying to be active there and support the community, so that's also a great place to just be a community. We do as many customer visits and customer interviews as we can. A lot of them are local in the US, but whenever we get a chance to do something in Europe or anywhere else, we really try to do that, and I think this adds a lot of value on both ends. So that's something that we try to do a lot. And then we also try to be present at events just like this and others. And it's just users group. Sometimes we talk about users group online. If it's in a great place like this one, we actually come. So we try to do that. Office Insider. How many of you know what Office Insider is? Peter. Yes. So Office Insider is a program for people who are on Office 365, who are subscribers. It lets you be a first ring. Think about it as the first people to ever see what's coming from Microsoft for Office. So you get the latest and the greatest from Microsoft once it ships. And you get to really shape the way Office looks. It's not just Access, it's everything, right? But I'm just guessing you care more about Access. But you get the earliest thing from as soon as they come from the product team. You get to try them, you get to provide feedback. Naturally, because you're the first, if you're an insider, you're the first, we are actively looking for your feedback. So feedback from insiders is being looked at first. Just so if there is a problem, we just stop it and it doesn't go out all the way. Please, if you're an Office 365 subscriber, please consider becoming an Office Insider. It is not stable. Yes, it may sometimes break, but we are listening so carefully so we can change and we can fix, we can release fixes to the things that are happening super fast, or let's say relatively fast, and it really helps everyone to really have a better and higher quality product. So please consider. I think I ran out of time and of topics, so that's good. No?
You can talk as long as you like.
Oh, I know. Trust me, I know. Yes, questions? Yeah.
What is the further security options in the new Microsoft Access? Is there any?
Are you looking for something specific or in general?
In general.
So we're not actively working on anything like this at the moment. There are a few good suggestions on user voice around security features that we're looking at, but it's currently not something that we have or have a plan on improving next. Go on user voice, suggest, vote, do all these things. Yes.
What is the best way to get a bug report through to you? You mentioned the feedback button, but isn't there any other way when I see this might be a critical issue that is a rare situation, but it is serious?
It's a great question.
What's the best way to get through to you?
So the question for everyone is, what is the best way to, if you think you have a bug, what's the best way to report it back? And it's a great question. If you're an Office Insider and you use the feedback, we'll see it. It will take us less than a week, because we do it once a week. We'll for sure see it if you don't use swear words. You have no idea what we're saying there. You just don't know. People are not nice. That's one. The other, I would say, is MVPs. Karl is here, Peter is in the back. Find your favorite MVP. Sorry for spamming you now, Karl. But MVPs, they are in really almost daily, I would say sometimes. We talk a lot, we email a lot. So if you find something that you think is super interesting and you let Karl know, I'm sure he'll find a way to let us know. Yeah, I think that's probably the best way to make sure. There are, of course, other forums. Like you don't really have to email an MVP because there are a lot of forums where MVPs are. There is other access. There is expert exchange. There is the answers, Microsoft Answers. There is the tech community. If you see something, you put it there. Someone will pick it up. A lot of times we just get MVPs is sending us a link. Oh, look at this. We think this is important. If you're totally desperate, you can enter something in user voice, but this is something that will probably not get many votes, so might kind of get ignored. Other questions? Yeah.
What is the future of VBA? Currently, there's not many changes there, and our problem is our solution is too big for VBA. We got this 64K limit message, not enough space and memory. I think it's in German, error 7.
Okay.
And that's an interesting question for all because it's standing still the evolution of VBA.
Yeah. How do I answer this?
Okay.
Yeah, thank you. So here's the thing. Our team does not own VBA. VBA is something that is also used in Excel, and it's not just Access. It's not specific. I'm not sure how to answer this, honestly, because again, I don't feel comfortable answering this because it's not our area. You can take whatever you take from this. That's one. Second, there is a user voice for Office developers. So same as you go access.uservoice.com, there should be, I don't know if it's called Office developers or something else. I'm sure you can search it. This is where VBA programmers, they provide feedback. Yes, I think I'll leave it at that. Make your voice sound. That's what I have to say. Anything else? Yeah.
Question about your new charts. What about my own charts? Is it the same object library you use? Is it only user? Can I flip my own charts after you?
Great questions about charts. We're not, as I said before, we're not taking away classic charts. Your existing solutions will continue to work. It's a different object model, totally different beast. If you search online, so we met with a customer, one of our customers has a huge application for trading baseball cards. It's big in the US, I don't know if it's here too. And they have this really huge app with 700 forms. 50 of them have pivot charts and other types of charts. And they were obviously stuck on Access 2010 until we showed them charts. He joined Office Insiders, so look at early bits, and he tried, loved it so much. And I invited him to a talk that we gave 3 weeks ago at Ignite, which is a Microsoft conference. It used to be TechEd, now it's Ignite. What he showed there is how he took an existing classic chart and transformed it into a new one. He also wrote a tool, using VBA of course, that with a click of a button will create the same pivot chart, or will get you 60% of the way You'll still need to do some changes, like set the colors and the title and stuff like this, but so you can automate the process if this is what you want to do. If this is something that is interesting to you, please search online. There's a YouTube video. Just search for Access Charts Ignite, and I can share the link with Karl later to share with everyone. But there is a way, what I'm getting at is programmatically, there is a way for you to build something or to use something that someone else built to just recreate your charts. I think I saw a question there. Okay. Thank you very much, everyone. And I'll be here if you have questions later, if you think of something, and we'll give it back to you.